so fucking with you guys. We are live on
I was like,
ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It was weird because it looked like your audio thing was moving too. I was like, wait, how the fuck did you do that?
Well, then Byron started doing it. I was like, okay. I don't know what just happened.
Oh, man. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the channel for another episode of Curse of the Black Ridge Mine, our Deadlands-ish campaign for Savage Worlds. I want to give a shout out right off the bat to Pinnacle Entertainment, who plastered Myth Brigade on their homepage. Because I think it's because of you guys, right? Because I think they saw you. They're kind of intimidated. You know, they're like, if we don't do this, they're probably going to, whatever. But yeah, so thank you so much to Shane Hensley and the team for supporting our channel and all the stuff we do. We're going to continue to support your game because we love it. We have bought into your Kickstarter around Pathfinder, making Pathfinder good again, or good in the first place. Watch John twitch. He's like, oh, yeah.
Okay,
So,
it's fine. It's fine.
So I wanted to just share. So we have viewers in 16 countries. I was looking at this the other day, just kind of checking out our viewership. We're just about 1,300 followers here on the YouTube. So if you haven't followed yet, you know how to click the whatever thing. Everybody point down at the, John's like over there. I don't know.
This way? No, this way.
But yeah, so we have 3 game masters on our channel now, and that's always growing. And who's the third one, you might ask? And that is none other than Len, who is now running a D&D 5e campaign called The Den. And she's incredible. If you haven't seen that episode 1 just aired on the channel. It is really good. Look for Matt as well if you want to have your mind bent by whatever madness is going on with him. But yeah, so tonight we're here to play something about the Weird West. So let's start with Mike. Mike, Beard, did it scream when you trimmed, when you did it?
It did. I actually had to shoot it just to make sure it was going to come back for vengeance. I had to cut it off and then just...
Nice.
Yeah. My daughter stared at me. I mean, she's 6 now, and I shaved it when she was a kid, and she wouldn't even look at me. And today she just kind of stared at me like, that's weird, Dad. It's my face. This is what my face looks like, and it's what your face is going to look like when you hit 14. We're very
nice.
Family.
And she's like, wait a minute.
Did she just start crying?
She got really, really worked up, and she's like, is it really going to do that? No. Not unless you're really, really bad. Do good in school, eat your vegetables. Everything will be just fine.
That's so good. Your time with your daughter. So my time with my stepdaughter is mostly eye rolling and me being wrong about everything. So
mine's
good.
Coming. I'm sure.
Oh, it is. It's so coming. You doing all right though?
Yeah, everything is great. Work is work. I've been working on my COVID carpentry project, and it's coming along pretty well. I was very, very excited about that. We are wrapping up our Curse of Strahd campaign on Wednesday. We literally left off as they started the very final encounter with Strahd himself. Spoiler, sorry. Next game we'll be able to finish that up, and so I'm very excited to that. I've been playing with these guys for like 6 years, and this is the first campaign we've completed. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that W.
Nice.
So that's impressive with that group.
Yeah. So what you're saying is when you're done, you're going to run one on the channel, right? You're gonna. That
was the plan. Yeah. I think we had talked about doing Cult. I'm open to some other suggestions though. And so we'll get this stuff launched on Wednesday, and then I'll be getting with you about what's next.
That's so exciting. Good. Hurry up. Guys, kill Strahd. Move on. You get treasure at the end. That's a spoiler. But
that's right.
Let's jump to Len. Len, your background is amazing. How's it going?
It's going okay. I had to make some improvements on my room, but I'm still glad you guys can't see how messy the rest of it is. So yeah, no, it's been good. I really just still riding that high after doing session 1 of the Den, which was so fun. My brain is firing on all pistons about just stuff to throw at you guys. Like, I can't wait to just mess with you. So to subsequently have you guys mess with me, because that's the beauty of any RPG, when the players get to noodle with the DM and make me break my brain. So I'm just really looking forward to that, and I can't wait to do the next session. So I'm looking forward to it.
Outstanding. Well, we are glad to have you as one of our game masters, dungeon masters, referees, and or directors. It is Such a pleasure. I've honestly never played in a game with a DM that had better timing. I just got to be honest. Like the timing, even with Zoom lag, because you wind up sort of, that's hard. So high five on that. Teach me. John, without an H.
Hello.
What the fuck are you doing?
Pretty good. I've gotten into Twitch streaming again, just video games and stuff like that. Shout out to one of my viewers who checked in on me. They were like, "Hey, are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just have not been streaming, but thank you for the motivation." So I started doing that again, twitch.tv/ForceNap. And yeah, super addicted to Valheim. It's a new game that came out on Steam last week. Just set, I think, Steam concurrent players or something record on it. So just an indie game that is just crushing it right now. So I am fully addicted to that game at the moment.
Are you sponsored by Valheim or anything like that? Can you get us some free merch or something?
No, I would love to be, though. I don't even think they have merch. That's the thing. I don't think they realized what was about to happen to them. So good for them.
Awesome, man. Well, we're glad to have you back out there. You know, something for me to listen to when I should be working, and you should also be working, but I know you're streaming. Yes. So, you know. Byron, with the new background, the wagon wheel's gone, the back, it's so,
I know.
That's like, you're ready to do it. What's going on, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of stuff, man. Tons of stuff. New games, new car, obviously. Night's Black Ages is going well. You guys were exposed to, I don't know if she's just an ally.
Oh,
she's
dude.
Not really a big bad.
She's an asshole. She's such an asshole. She's so hot, though. Yeah. Worst and best villain ever.
They were exposed. Just one spoiler. They met Elizabeth Bathory in the last episode of Night's Black Ages. That was pretty awesome. Just tons of stuff. Running some Pathfinder with my local group. Well, local. They're about an hour and 10 minutes away, but went up there and played in person for once instead of over Zoom. That was kind of nice. We got rid of the curfew here in Ohio.
Ooh, nice.
Some steps back towards normal. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, excited. Definitely excited to get this show on the road. Dobbs has got some meeting to do.
Yeah, that's so true. So you guys ready to do that? You know what I'm going to ask you to give me, right? You know what I'm going to ask you? I'm going to ask you to breathe deep and just search inside yourself and just give me the sign that you're ready to get into the Weird West. What is it? Come on. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Oh, holy shit. We just broke some people's ears here on the Twitch channel. So now what in the hell is it about small towns? It always seems to spell trouble for this posse. When last we saw our rootin' tootin' companions, they was attempting to lay low and recover from what God-fearing men would call a bad week. They learned that the map was more than just a handful of tattoos. You see, it required a human host and was powered by a strange, scrimshawed wolf tooth they found under old Teddy's putrefying skin. Well, by they I mean John. He was a-digging. As they sat trying to figure everything out, the old doc seemed to have a plan of its own. So he went and took that tooth and stabbed that damn thing into Dobbs' shoulder. Well, Dobbs reacted. Well, let's just say the doc should be glad he found it in his heart to clobber the table instead of his skull. They watched. Dobbs hooted and hollered and grimaced and grunted. And right before their eyes, he twitched and became the key. The saloon regulars would get themselves a quick show as the posse acted quickly and did their best to cover for the odd goings-on around the table. With Ash a-shooting and Nate a-jawing, and John a-taking it upon himself to name their operation, something that we will not say out loud again, so it was agreed. That didn't prove too hard to distract the locals with that kind of shenanigans. A particular gentleman, meanwhile, named Chester Willis, seemed to think that old Dobbs must be the sideshow's strongman. Decided to challenge him to face off against one hippopotamus of a human being by the name of Cousin Eddie in a boxing ring. Now, we know there's 2 things that Dobbs ain't likely to refuse. One of them's a chance to beat a boy down in a fair fight. And the other one's a chance to beat a boy down in an unfair fight. It's really a tactical difference. His opponent was a hulk of a man with sharpened teeth that looked more like a demonic mule than a man. What he obviously lacked in smarts, he more than made up for in bulk. But as you'd guess, old Dobbs had a little bit of pent-up energy, and he beat the ever-living hell out of that man before little Cousin Eddie could even say a word. Which, as luck would have it, is when things got interesting. Seems Chester didn't think much of having his champ put down like a lame dog, and he ordered his boys to settle the score. The screen fades from black in. As we are here, the smell of gun smoke still fresh in the air, the smell of sweat, piss, spilled beer, and whiskey. It's kind of quiet except for kind of the wind rattling through the place. You can hear at the side of the boxing ring, there is one person that's laying dead there on the ground after Nate blew his chest out with his cane. You're sort of standing about. Dobbs, you're still up there in the ring. Cousin Eddie, as you'll recall, was sort of stupefied. You have beat most of his teeth out. And he's gurgling, and at this point you think he might be snoring. If I was looking to find each one of you, what would I see? Let's start with Nate.
So Nate is not trying to draw too much attention to himself, but he's trying to get back to the rest of his posse to make sure that he can stay safe and make sure they're all right too. So
as you walk in, you kind of sort of walking around the ring looking, Lynn basically Ash had sort of tussled with one gentleman. I think it was the same guy that you blew his chest out, so you're not too far away. Ash, what are you up to? I'm guessing you're smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, I think that's the action we catch her in the middle of as we come into the scene, because as I recall, were there people coming into the room as we ended? Because
there will be.
Okay. She's just kind of, looking down at the dead body, lighting up the cigarette, and kind of takes a drag of it, then just looks at Nate like, damn.
So John was on the opposite side of the ring, and you were observing and using your powers and whatnot. What are you up to at this point? Things have gone straight to hell.
Yeah, at this point, I had my gun out, didn't really need to use it much or anything, so I'm just kind of sitting there, let out a long whistle. Whew! Boy, was that a fight. Okay, everybody all right here? I'm kind of looking around the crowd like, everybody's all right, nobody's injured. Apologize, that, Chester had to go and do that, bring up this unfair match here.
So as you kind of come out of your trance and you're saying this and trying to cover, and you realize about the only people in here at this very moment are your friends and the dead body. Of course, there are some people, I did mention there's some people coming through. I took a tiny step back for dramatic purposes, but that brings us to Dobbs. So Dobbs, you're standing there and you got these big old boxing gloves, walloping gloves. And you're looking down and there's a couple teeth actually stuck in them. And Cousin Eddie's just laying there, just bleeding. What are you doing?
Well, I guess I'm gonna get out of the ring, because there ain't nothing to be done in here anymore. So
you step out of your ring, and your friends are there, as they always are. And you didn't quite see the actual what sort of happened with the gunshot, because you were busy beating the hell out of Cousin Eddie. But there's a guy there with a hole about that big in his chest, and even bigger in the back. They're standing around him, kind of looking at him.
What happened?
Well, there was some unscrupulous types, and things had to be done to keep each other safe. Nobody's proud of it. Nobody's happy about it. But we're all right.
Well, shit.
Nate's trying to turn the attention away and be like, what the hell did you do to him?
I don't think he's getting up.
I don't think
walking
so
over. So considering we're the only ones around here, maybe we should probably get out of here and maybe pack up camp. I have a feeling that Chester might own a little more of this town than we initially thought.
Nate looks dumbfounded at the fact that John just suggested we leave without him collecting his money, because John won a bet fair and square. Is that what you want to do?
When you put it that way, you think he's gonna pay it?
Now, I do believe that these kind townsfolk around us, and I like look around if there's no one else in the room, and I just goes back to the body, and I was like, well, some townsfolk certainly saw us making bets fair and square, and I think that, witnesses could potentially say that we defended ourselves and defended a fair fight. So I think Mr. Chester still owes us some cash.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue with getting my money.
Agreed. He owes me $20.
It was you a hell of a lot more than that, Dobbs. That was a hell of a fight. Nice job, big guy.
Right about that time, you hear this.
Somebody told me he liked to bite people, but I don't think he's going to be biting anything else. Hope he likes grits.
Oh, shit. That's an early candidate, Byron, for the name of the episode. Hope he likes grits.
Hope he likes
That's
grits.
amazing.
Love it.
That's good. So just as you're having this conversation and Ash is saying something about getting money, you hear this sort of creaking of a door kind of over by, sort of where a lot of people have hauled ass out of this little saloon, the boxing arena or whatever. And kind of mid-stride, this sort of short, stumpy, something like Boss Hogg, right? Straight out of the Dukes of Hazzard. This kind of just, guy steps in. He's got a little bit of a kind of a pencil beard and little mustaches. It's white, real wrinkly, but kind of just short, sweaty guy. Dead man ain't gonna owe you nothing. He steps in, stepping over some bottles and stuff. He accidentally kind of kicks some refuse to the side. Now, who in the Sam hell are you? As he's kind of walking in, he's got his cane. To come up in here, he's poking different stuff with his cane, swiping along a table, and cause this kind of ruckus in my... As he takes his cane and literally digs it around in the bullet wound, in the shotgun wound. Looks at the end of his cane. Town. Points it at Dobbs. What's your name, boy? And he pushes you on your chest.
First off, I ain't no boy. He's like, but you can call me Dobbs.
Well, Mr. Dobbs, you're boy to me. How old are you? Reckon you look like you're 25, 26 years old? How old are you? Whoosh, he hits you on the ass with his cane and points to John.
I take it from him.
You take his cane?
If he hits me with it, I'm taking it.
Okay, give me a let's give me a fighting roll. Let's swipe that.
You really want me to roll it?
I do.
No. That's awesome. I think.
So the wild day saves you with a 4, so you would have had a although you're against his parry. So you go to swipe it and you grab the end of it and he. Now that's not very polite, is it? It was just a friendly gesture.
Just as polite as you hitting me. Unless you want to use it as a straw from now on, I suggest you don't hit me with it again.
Boys!
No, gentlemen. I feel like we might have gotten off on the wrong foot here. Apologies. We didn't think you were the proprietor of this establishment. We were led to believe maybe a certain Chester Willis, who was arranging these fights, might have been above board and taken this. Come to find out, he's more of the unscrupulous type, trying to attack my friends here. Kind of just glancing down. That didn't work out too well for him.
He's nodding. Give me a persuasion roll as you give him that narrative. And he just shout as you're saying. He says, boys, out off to the side. Now, I appreciate your sly tongue, but see what had happened in here, some man has died on the floor during a game of sport in my town. So behind him, men in black. And when I say that, I mean it. Like black suits, black shirts, black ties, black dusters, black hats. One of them is a ginger. And so that's like a really very, very pale skin, almost maybe like sort of albino, right? Like very pale. Another is clearly of Asian descent, and another is just kind of a dude. But they all look incredibly rough. So they sort of, just this sort of guy, right? He's just this rough guy. He's got some pock marks on his face and, 5 o'clock shadow. And they walk in almost a practice motion and fan out and just kind of widen their dusters. You notice that the Asian guy does not have a gun. He instead has 2 blades. Now, I'm just here to find out what in the hell happened. And you, sir, I heard something about a wager, so I'm going to discount your opinion right off, because I don't believe in gambling. The Lord hates a gambling man. And he puts his finger in your chest and pushes backwards. Do you allow him to push you backwards, or do you stand firm?
Yeah, I smirk and just kind of take a step back. Nate, maybe you can give this a shot.
Now, judging from the size of the hole in this man's chest, now, for one, I can tell you that this fine gentleman here, kind of sort of flourishing back toward Dobbs, as much as his temper is trying to get the best of him right now, he did not kill anyone because he's got boxing gloves on. Well, he looks over at Cousin Eddie. No, he's still alive. You, sir, are not carrying any kind of rifle or shotgun that I could see, and the hole in that man's big enough. It must have been... He stares at Ash real hard. You have a rifle over your back, right?
Do you indeed?
Now, madam, what did this man do to you? Is this a jilted lover situation? Is that what this is? As he steps closer to you.
Now, as flattered as I am that you would suspect that of me, I can just tell you plainly, no hogwash here. This man, and I point down to the dead body, he tried to shoot me. So, as it goes, we defended ourselves. I defended myself. And I got the jump on him as he tried to draw a gun on me.
Give me, please, a persuasion roll.
Oh, no.
Give yourself a +2 as he apparently, wow, the wild die with a 13. Wow. Okay. So...
I'm like putting my hands up and like cigarette hanging out of my mouth, just being like, now, I think that's perfectly legal.
Sammy, and he motions with his finger, like sort of point. And this big guy could literally, you would think, just literally take this guy out in a heartbeat. But he just hurries over and dumps down and kind of takes a look at the gun. And, yeah, looks like it was his. Came out of his holster. Looked like, yep. He's kind of nodding his head. So this man wanted to kill you. Why would this man wanted to kill you, would you say?
Well, I don't think he liked the fact that the fight wasn't going in his favor, because as you said, he was a gambling man, and that just ain't right. But I was really excited watching my good friend Dobbs there, dominate that ring. And so I tried to get him a little bit excited, but he, trying to just be good sportsman-like, saying, hey, look at that, look at this fight. He did not like it at all. And I saw him try to pull a gun on my friend Dobbs. So I stood in his way, and I think he was going to shoot me, get to Dobbs.
He seems so convinced. With that 13, he is so just like, well, how about you glancing at your cane? You injured in the war?
No, sir. It's a bit of a keepsake from a real close friend of mine. He passed, unfortunately. That's all I got left to remember him by.
And God rest his soul. Well, I will tell you one thing. Old Chester's on the run for a variety of reasons, and I have asked him not to run gambling out of this bore. And apparently the apocalypse has arrived at my house. So if I lose the internet, this is Florida weather. Sorry, did you hear that? It's like... Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, we're all gonna die, or aliens are invading. But he basically says, "I have told him time and time again not to run filthy gambling." As he turns to look at John, out of this establishment. So, what's going to happen is what happens to anybody who defies me so many times. So I don't think you really have to worry about old Leonard here, but I am going to have to ask you to come with me and surrender your weapons.
I think Ash definitely does a thing where she like looks to John and like looks to Nate and then like back to Dobbs, just being like, do you guys really expect me to do that? Like,
right. Nate's like, how did we get from there to, he's just trying to piece it together for a second.
Well, and this guy's walking around, right? I can't really. If we were at a table, I would so do it. But he's walking around and he likes to tap his cane and he kind of throws it from hand to hand. See, the problem is, even though technically speaking you were defending yourself, you have caused one hell of an episode here. I mean, Cousin Eddie's health aside, you've killed a man. You have frightened half of my town. And all you are is a bunch of sideshow carnies. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to just arrest you. Or...
Now, we tend to have a very strict gun control policy where if there are guns around, we want to be in control of them. So perhaps we could help you out and find this Chester for you. And, maybe I can settle my debts. I appreciate that your establishment doesn't allow them, but that doesn't negate that he actually made a fair and even deal with me. So I think I'm up to that to reclaim that debt. And we'll take care of a service for you.
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth, mister?
I don't know my mother, sir.
That's probably good for her. I have told you, as a rightful, fine, upstanding man of the law, that you are under arrest. And I would like you to surrender your weapons. So, if you don't, then I'm going to have to ask my boys to cause a big problem. And I promise you, he winks at you. Give me a perception roll, please, John, with an H. Nope. Yeah, definitely not. With a 2 on the wild die and a 1. No, you're just flustered. You want your money, right? And he's about to take you to jail. Yeah, and you've been to jail before, right? Love that music. So I'm gonna have to ask you to give me those weapons, ma'am. Ladies first.
I think that again, Ash kind of like she like reaches up and kind of like adjusts her Stetson, and as she does so, she kind of like looks to the boys to be like, sorry about this. Like she gives them like the look, being like, ooh, and then I think she's gonna try and dash behind, like if there's like a bar or anything where she could take cover, and just kind of and get out of the way for a firefight.
So you okay? So you kind of put your hand up. Now, meanwhile, so let's go around. So Nate, how are you reacting to this guy? I know how John's reacting because he's talking to him. So what are you doing?
Yeah, Nate is just observing the situation. He's not. And, I mean, and these guys have seen this ploy before, right? Like do nothing, say nothing, and just kind of hang out and smile and just absorb what's going on. So he's standing there, cane in hand, other hand empty, up and passive, and just listening to the conversation. And he sees the eyes that Ash makes, and he doesn't respond, but like there's eyes. So yeah.
Dobbs, I saw you rolling for something. You were trying to figure out your spirit roll. What are you doing there, man?
Well, my spirit roll was to determine if Dobbs was going to get upset because there was talk about people's moms, and that was really not something Dobbs would go through. So I had to make sure that Dobbs wasn't going to start breaking necks, so he was calm and reserved, and I think he's gone for another thing. And he's I think he has the spirit for some music, and so he's gonna say, "Well, you know what? It's like, Mama, I do think it might like a dance today." And he's just going to kind of like put his arms up. Like he's probably seen people dancing before.
Like the jig.
And he's going to put his arms up and he's just going to kind of like twirl and like dance. Meanwhile, he's kind of backing, like dancing towards the line of guys that kind of get closer to them.
That's amazing. I don't even know what to make of that. Okay, so why don't you give me a spirit check for one? Damn, so your wild die is 7.
Dobbs is strong on the spirit today.
So you literally, it's almost like you're still in that moment, and then you're going to give me a performance roll. So I just wanted to know just how like you're connected. You even got a little tear from that. Yeah. So performance is in fact a thing, but if you don't have it, then it's going to fall to spirit, but you're going to roll it at half there.
The spirit at half.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's separate from the spirit.
It'd be so good if you had like a D12 in performance as a dancer. Right. Yeah, separate from the spirit roll.
That was not so good.
You're a horrible dancer. And
I am.
So what I'm going to say is that those of you guys, you're distracted by this nonsense. Like you were starting to run a con, and you're just like, what the? And he's just like, bang, bang. He's like knocking bottles and shit over, but you're pulling it off. But as you're doing that and you're kind of twirling, you notice that this man, having clearly been through this before, he just sidesteps, which brings us back around to Ash. So you're reaching back and you're getting ready to dodge. And about this time, you hear this kind of clattering. You glance over. You see Dobbs starting to, he's dancing a jig to some music in his head. Maybe he got hit hard by Cousin Eddie and you didn't see it. You're not sure. What do you do? How do you react to this?
Can I just like look around real quick to see if everyone else is also looking at Dobbs?
You absolutely can. And I'm guessing, tell me guys, are you probably fixated on what is he doing?
Yep, I absolutely
As
am.
always.
Are the other guys, like the men in black, are they all looking at Dobbs?
I'm just gonna say yes. I mean, the one exception is the Asian guy who's very focused. He's kind of like side-eyeing Dobbs, like, what the hell? But he's still looking at you guys. And in particular, Ash, he was looking at you when you put your hands up. But yeah, you notice they're kind of like, the one guy that's just a dude in particular is actually, his head's kind of bobbing with Dobbs as he moves along. What do you do?
I also just quickly to establish like the scene, where is the doctor in all of this?
So the doctor actually, apparently, as far as you can tell, has fled the scene. When the gunfire started, he apparently hauled ass out with the normal people outside of the ring area. Probably
Perfect.
outside of the saloon.
That's good for him. Yeah, I think so. Ash, as like everybody's distracted watching Dobbs, and she is too. But I think she's kind of like looking at him, and then it's just kind of like, what? And she's just gonna slowly start to back away, like putting as much distance between the dude who asked for her weapons, trying again to just sort of like move towards the bar or like any potential cover.
So you kind of
quietly.
You're kind of moving back. Give me a stealth roll, and let's see if anybody picks up on what you're trying to do.
Is stealth? Let's see. Here we go.
Nice. So wild die's an 8 there. So you absolutely just kind of slip off to the side. And now is your goal to get to a point where you could shoot and have cover, or are you literally just trying to get out of the line of fire?
A little bit of both. Like I think she's just trying to find a place where like she could maybe duck behind a counter and like take pot shots over it. You know, a little bit of cover. She's been like, even in the first episode when we took that tavern brawl to a shootout level. She's been in this situation before. She knows what's coming.
Yeah. So I sort of think you kind of waltz off to the side, kind of moving out of the way, almost as if you're trying to avoid what may happen. Like, I don't want no trouble over here. And you slip actually behind the bar. And there's all kinds of bottles back here too. You're like, all right, this is good stuff. So you get back there. Nate, what are you doing? So what the fuck is Dobbs doing in your mind?
I mean, we heard from Dobbs. I know he didn't get his bell rung. And so I figure he's up to something. And so, Nate, if he moves at all, it's just sort of to like get out of Dobbs's way, but he's still just sort of observing and waiting for his moment to act, that could mean a number of different things. And so he's just waiting for an opportunity to contribute.
John.
I'm going to start kind of like stomping my foot and kind of like going along to whatever beat I can kind of guess he's dancing to, and kind of turn my back more so towards the short gentleman and actually back up a little bit towards him. So I'm kind of, out of his way, but, stomping my foot like, oh, he's having one of those conniption fits again. And I just start doing that as I slowly back up towards that guy.
Give me a performance roll, please. God. You can do performance or persuasion either way. Either way, if you're just trying to convince them and you're not necessarily trying to have it be the same.
I'm going to succeed on one of these rolls tonight.
Man, so you say that, but more than anything, it just points out how weird it is, which brings us back to Dobbs. So Dobbs, you managed to freak everyone out in the room. All your friends, all the bad guys, or maybe they're good guys, you don't know. But you're pirouetting around. What do you do?
Like I said, I was trying to close the distance to the group of gentlemen. Are they kind of standing next to each other?
So the three guys are by the door. And this guy, whoever he is, has walked over close to you. So he's actually a good, say, 12 to 15 feet away from his friends. Close to you, by the ring. Closer to the bar.
Right.
So it's just him and you at this point. And you were dancing up, and he's got his cane, and he's walking. He's not standing still. And he's watching you. Boy, are you having a conniption fit? He says.
Well, no, sir. Have you never just had the mood to dance? He's like, well, allow me. And I'll kind of grab him by the wrist.
You reach out.
I'm just going to try to grab him and get him right on in the dance.
Give me a. You're going to take a persuasion roll at -2, in order to disarm his.
Or which guy are you grabbing?
The guy in the suit. The okay. So you roll a 4 on the wild die. So he's not going to take that. He pulls his hand back. Now, I reckon we should probably not do this, he says as he takes a couple steps back.
Well, maybe one of your men would like to dance instead. And he'll just kind of move towards the guys.
You see him look over to his guys, and literally the rest of you kind of see his guys are looking back at him like, what the f*** are we supposed to do? Now, sir, I'm going to ask you to stop dancing. Cease the dancing, he says.
Was dancing a sin in this town too? Is there no fun to be had?
I didn't say anything about sin.
Well, then the Lord bless my steps.
Can that be the episode title? Lord bless my steps?
I'll write that one down too. We'll vote at the end. What's the first one? Remind me of the first one real quick.
I hope he likes grits.
I got it recorded.
I hope he likes grits, yeah.
So I wrote down cease the dancing.
Grits.
I also wrote down cease the dancing.
So you say, Lord bless my steps, and he looks at, all right, enough of this nonsense. Are you pulling some kind of... Is he sick in the head? He looks over to you, the three of you, kind of glancing, but he realizes Ash is gone, and he seems confused.
Yeah, when Nate notices notices him sort of wandering, he's like, well, you see, Dobbs is sort of he's a little bit slow. Anybody'd have to be to get in the ring with Cousin Eddie, am I right? So, sometimes we just got to let him sort of work through it. He'll be all right. Just give him a minute. And what Nate's trying to just engage him so he doesn't try looking over the counter at Ash.
Persuasion.
Just nodding along like,
yeah.
It's a sad thing.
As you're finishing your dancing steps.
Ash, give me a notice check as well while you're at it.
Yes, sir.
You guys are so fucked up, I swear. So I love this. Yeah, okay. So you say that, and I declare you must be the strangest posse that's ever come through here. Now, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to keep you safe. You understand me, boy? He says to you, Nate. He does seem to be engaging with you more. Ash, you notice a couple things. Now, from your vantage point, as you peek up from behind the bar, well, a couple things. There's a nice little tequila right there, and it's the cork's off. So you kind of pull it up and you pop up with your tequila bottle. And you look out and you see several men, well armed, outside the window. They're just waiting and behaving. And the Asian guy who seems to see everything when you pop up is staring right at you. And he just goes like this and puts his hand back down and smiles with this little quick little.
I just take a sip. I just nod at him and then take a sip of the bottle of tequila, like I'm just watching this whole thing go down.
Dobbs, you're dancing to this music, and For those of you on the stream who can hear it, that's what's playing in the background in Dobbs' head. This like trumpet music and shit. And you just making your way. What the hell are you doing? You just go up to these guys.
Yeah, I'm just dancing. I'm gonna see if one of them wants to dance. I like the ginger guy. He don't have no soul. Maybe he needs some music.
Our drummer is gonna see this and be like, "Why do you keep saying we don't have any soul?" Okay, you just got to reach out and grab this guy, the ginger guy, the ginger guy's hand, huh?
Yeah, I mean not aggressively, but aggressively.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a spirit roll on that one, I think, and I'm gonna give you at this point. Because of your other rolls, I'm going to give you a +2. I think he's amused.
That'd be a 6.
Yep. So you reach out and grab this guy's hand, and for one thing you notice, Dobbs, it is wet with sweat. Like, just wet. Like, like he felt like something was about to happen. And you reach out, and you grab his hand, and he looks at the Asian guy, and he looks at the other guy, and he just sort of steps out. Do you literally dance with this guy?
Hell yeah, man. I'm just going to pull him away from his buddies.
God, I wish we were around the table. He's got this look like probably most, kind of people at clubs that get unsolicited dancers coming up to them sort of thing. That he's just like,
don't worry, I like to lead. It'll be okay.
Sir, you about to get yourself in trouble, he says.
Why do you think that?
Well, for one, I don't reckon I like dancing with another fella, but also you're about to get in trouble with the judge. Also, there ain't no music and it's kind of weird, he says.
You can't hear it? It's clear if you just know how to listen.
Give me an intimidation check. +2.
I might need to make that check too.
Yeah.
I'll have intimidation.
I'm growing more and more.
I don't have intimidation, believe it or not.
This surprises me. You need to get that in your next improvement.
Yeah, probably.
That'll be spirit, yeah.
Was it just unskilled D4?
Yeah, spirit. Yep.
Spirit. Oh. Yep, spirit with a -2. 3.
This is actually a good outcome. You failed to terrify the hell out of him. He he just steps back. All right. Just why don't you just calm down before? At this point, the judge turns around. Enough of this. If my name is not Bartholomew Matthews, you will stop this in my town. He comes waddling up to you. Now you may like to dance, and I like to dance, and apparently, as he hits this dude in the chest with his cane, he likes to dance. But the point is, you have killed one of my citizens, and we have to go to the courthouse. And he says, and his eyebrows go, as he says, to the courthouse. Like, God damn it. He doesn't say God damn it because he wouldn't do that.
Nate is just like, he tries to wash the room with just like passiveness. He's like, okay, listen, we're very sorry. We're carnies. We can get a little unruly, but you're absolutely right. This is your town. We do not wish you any trouble. He still holding his cane. He reaches in for his gun and he grabs it by the barrel and he hands it to the judge. Says, "We'll follow you where we got to go."
He kind of, as you approach, you sort of hand it to him. He side eyes you and he takes it and he hands it backwards. And the ginger boy, because he's kind of nearby, kind of grabs it, steps back. Dobbs, are you still dancing? Are you still being weird, or are you just kind of calmed down at that point? You're on mute or something.
You're muted.
I kind of calm down if Nate's trying to lead the conversation. Then I'll defer to his guidance.
Now, before we walk out there, the one thing I want you fellas, where is your friend, ma'am?
I'm fully hiding down behind the bar at this point.
Ma'am, you're gonna want to come out here right now.
I am in the middle of smoking my cigarette, and I just
there's like smoke coming up from where you're sitting.
Nate leads in. He goes, "She got a bit of a drinking problem. You're gonna have to forgive her.
She can bring that bottle with her, right?"
Blood of the devil's not coming into this courthouse.
You just hear Ash. Ash just stands up, and as she stands up, she just goes, "I hate this town." Yeah, she'll sulk out from behind the bar.
All right, now the rest of you give all your weapons. Do you retain any weapons? Do you attempt to retain any weapons? I should say. You keep Jennifer and your fist. Do you keep Jennifer hidden?
Yeah, Jennifer's in my jacket unless I'm searched.
No, nothing quite like that. There's a loose kind of looking you over, like as you pull out your sidearm. It's kind of like you pull out probably a couple sidearms, whatever.
And a big bag Bowie knife.
I do the reach across with my opposite hand and slowly bring out the revolver and hand it over. I'm keeping my decks of cards as a normal person would, but
I guess I think Ash definitely tries to like play it off like she hands the pistol that's in her belt over, and then just like, and the rifle, and then she tries to play it off like she forgot about her second gun unless anybody notices.
Give me a stealth check at with that fanfare. I'll give you a +2 on that one.
Oh, don't do me wrong.
Come on,
here,
dice, don't fail me now. Nice.
Oh yeah.
D10. You're sneaky, Ms. Butcher. So yeah, you just nonchalant, and the guy with the ginger's kind of grabbing guns and putting them in a bag. He tips his hat to you, ma'am. He steps aside and lets you head over.
Now be careful with that rifle.
Yes, ma'am.
Careful.
Ain't nothing bad gonna happen to it. Hey, Judge is an honest man. He kind of whispers and steps back. He's a lunk of a guy, and you're fairly small, and he just kind of leans in like a yeti. He's like, hell yeah. It's like you just want to punch him in the throat.
Too close for comfort. I blow a little bit of cigarette smoke in his face.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to get too close. Now, before we walk out here, you listen to me. People in this town mad at you. You beat the hell out of Cousin Eddie. Cousin Eddie ain't done nothing wrong unless it's to the apocalypse coming again. Sorry. Did you hear that again? Holy shit. It's going to be like the end of Myth Brigade. Byron, you got the con after this. Cousin Eddie ain't done nothing wrong but to a stalk of corn here and there, and you just went and beat the daylights at him. Does he have teeth?
It was a sporting match.
No disrespect, Judge, but that was a fair fight.
It was a fair fight.
We didn't know any better.
I let him swing at me once.
Let's us get down to the courthouse, okay? Because them folks out there is upset with you. So that fella right there, well, his wife's probably standing out there just wondering why he ain't came out this saloon yet.
Well, maybe he shouldn't draw guns on ladies at fights. I'm just saying. She just walks.
You watch your mouth, he says. You drinking that snake venom loosens your tongue. He says.
And he's like giving you eyes,
swing.
just zip it. Just we'll figure it out later. Just
Yeah.
be cool.
No, Ash just takes after he says this, she just takes one final big swig of the tequila and then just plants it down really hard on the nearest table before crossing her arms, being like, "Well, are we going or what?"
That's awesome. So you all kind of gather in the three guys kind of circling around you. It's clear, despite their probably Dobbs' movement saved your lives, because you just get this sense, this foreboding from them, and you're not even sure why exactly, right? It's just there's something, but clearly they weren't ready to deal with the dancing boxer. Dobbs, do you keep your boxing gloves on, or do you take them off? It's like walking around.
You can't take them off.
That's true.
How you take them off? Somebody's got to take them off.
I'd have to think at some point the judge is like, somebody get those darn gloves off of his hands.
I would have already done it if I could do it. You know how hard it is to untie anything with these things on?
Ginger guy. Yes, sir, I understand very fully, especially when you're just waking up from getting the hell beat out of you by Cousin Eddie, and he helps you. You make your way to the courthouse. So as you walk out, there is a crowd out there expecting to see probably them dragging dead bodies out. There isn't they're throwing things or anything like that, but there's a lot of suspicion going on, and just what the hell really happened in there. You don't see any maidens or widows wondering where their husband is or anything like that. It's mostly just the kind of miscreant types that hang out in Maggot Gap.
Is the Is the doctor around? Like, do I see him when we leave?
Yes,
I think Ash would be keeping eyes out.
He is, in fact, standing back. You see that you can't miss him because he's so tall and weird shape with the weird duster, the white kind of blood-stained duster still. And he's just kind of watching from afar at the very back. And he makes eye contact with you. Do you motion him along or do you leave him be?
No, I just kind of like look at him and then I kind of give him like a little bit of a nod, like okay, and then just keep on walking.
You could imagine him going, no. It's just like as he shakes his head. You walk down. Remember that sort of the saloon was up near this promenade that overlooks this great big bowl in the earth, this sort of sandy bowl, the desert, almost like a crater in the earth. You walk down this sort of wooden plank stairs and then out into what is a more traditional kind of gravel road, and ultimately find yourself in a little tiny courthouse, which is more or less an office with a place for somebody to get up and sit taller than everyone else, right? You kind of go in, you shut the door. The judge sort of drops the bag. The judge's men drop the bags of your things kind of off by his desk. And he turns. Now sit down and tell me what in the hell you were doing in my goddamn town. And don't fucking dance, he says to Dobbs. I hate dancing. Always have. His head snaps back to Nate.
Were you just passing through?
Bullshit!
Like a nice...
There ain't nobody passes through Maggot Gap. I told you not to bullshit me. Now that is one strike against you. Don't let it be 3. Also, he can't count. So don't trust he'll get that 4. Why the fuck are you in my town?
Now, see, sir, you've already correctly identified our profession as carnies. I myself am a renowned sharpshooter. It is what I do for a living. And I thought, with these fine gentlemen, we would come through here, see if we can pick up some cash. And that's exactly what we were doing, legally and truthfully, honestly, in a fair fight. But seems that is not above board in this town. Is that what I'm understanding? Now, how are we just supposed to know that? Just doing our jobs, making a living. We can't come here to hurt nobody.
What I'm going to ask you, ma'am, is why you smell like ghost rock. I can smell you from here.
She's like, what, me?
Yeah, you're like, no, I don't have a problem. It's fine. What are you running from or what are you running to, and how can I either help or dissuade you? There's a delicate balance going on in this town. And there's forces at work here you don't necessarily understand. You bring that shit up in here and you cause all kinds of problems. Now, and he's got this sort of, his cane, and he squeezes it and it bends. I almost snapped my pen in my hand. That would have been funny. It'd be covered in black ink. I'm trying to be patient because I smelled you when you got here. But I'm not going to ask again. You hear blades are drawn. I do love a good side of roast beef. He glances over at Dobbs.
Talking directly to me, or is there any?
Yeah, he is. He's staring right at you. I'm going to ask you to make a spirit roll too, and I think he's gonna try to intimidate you. Let's see.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he does. He's got you. He's got you.
So,
Ash is just darting side to side, like eyes side to side, like looking at the boys to be like, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah, so Nate sees it, and he just... Sir, are you familiar with Buck and Chuck Butley?
You hear motion. Guys that got guns aimed at you, and they're not revolvers. They're gun-shaped things. And this guy steps forward. The Asian guy steps forward with the 2 swords. I recollect the namesake. Is that who you working for?
I whisper over
No.
Nate. Is that a good or bad reaction?
Work for? No, sir. And I get the strong impression that you feel the way that I do. You see, unfortunately, he took somebody that means something very much to me. And I'm about to do the same back to him.
Is that right? Who'd you take? Your wife? Your kids? Is that the story?
More like a little brother, Teddy. And like trying to like get the rest of the group to sort of like pick up on what's going on.
Dobbs, what are you doing? So you're there. Are you eating? I think you're probably eating. Like you got a piece of jerky in your pocket and you're just like,
Yeah, because I couldn't eat with the gloves on, but now that I don't have the gloves,
But yeah, what are you doing?
I'm eating.
Just
I'm
watching.
Just chewing.
Okay.
Yeah,
John?
I believe.
I nod solemnly. Truth is, we have his body in town. We ran into the Futley brothers, and unfortunately, we all didn't make it out. And truth be told, we ran from them. Now, we're telling the truth. We have the carny abilities, and we'll put on a show as needed to make a living. But unfortunately, we ran afoul of the Futley brothers, and that didn't go over well. I'm hoping it goes better in this town. But truth be told, we're hiding out from them. We know Maggot Gap's fairly secluded, and we heard your mayor disappeared, so I'm hoping we're not in too much trouble here, but we're hoping the Futley brothers can't find us out here.
You see him twitch just a little bit when you say the mayor disappeared. You're not sure what to make of that. And I think that's Nate that sees it because he watches it. And Dobbs was about to say something when John spoke up. So, Dobbs, what were you going to say?
Oh, fine.
I'm doing what does that waiters come up to your table like right when you take a giant bite of that burger. what does he say?
No, I was just gonna say that Teddy was our friend. He didn't do no wrong, but the Futleys decided that his life was less important than whatever they wanted. And to be honest, sir, we don't really care for that kind of attitude. And so we plan on, well, putting my boot as far up Chuck Futley's ass as I can get it.
So, Nate, you're going to get one persuasion roll based on all that's gone on. As you pick up at the end of each of these little kind of supporting stories, you're going to get one persuasion roll with a +2 to see if he believes this nonsense.
Okay, I do have charismatic, which gives me a free persuasion reroll if needed.
Okay, and plus you have bennies. So remember, you guys have got bennies. This is a new session, so.
All right, so let's go ahead and
Ash should have 3, right?
I should have 3. I don't know.
I only get 2.
I think everybody has 3. Dobbs should have 2, and I have 4.
Okay.
I'm showing you with 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Go
ahead.
Should have an extra one in there somewhere, but not too worried
+2.
about it.
Oh, critical.
So I can't use a Benny on this, but I can use my reroll because of my edge.
So that's right. So Nate rolls snake eyes for the podcast, which means he couldn't reroll it with a Benny, but his edge saves him. Be glad you have that edge. So Nate, I'm going to ask you, because this is how we do here on the channel. Start out in a fucked up way and recover it right now. Go.
Yeah, I heard about the mayor thing too. I don't really know how to help. If you need some,
he stiffens. When you start in on mayor thing.
Yeah, and Nate's just like, nope, we're gonna pull it right out of that nosedive.
Well done.
Like, listen, I meant it when I said we's just passing through. We're only here for a day or two to get what we need to bury Brother Teddy and find those Futleys. Put an end to it. Be out of your hair soon enough.
I understand. I do understand. See, I know a lot of things. I know that the Futley brothers don't have no enemies that ain't worth a lot of money. I know that. I also know that ain't nobody comes through Maggot Gap just passing through, because it's kind of at the end of the devil's asshole. If you've ever seen that, it's not pretty. I also know he looks back, and these guys literally bristle, like they're ready. And there's this moment where you feel like we're about to get in a fight, like a shootout, and we are unarmed, except Ash, because you're always packing, right? I also know you got a friend in me. There are a couple things I hate. That's men disrespect women. It's people to drink too much. People to waste bullets. So far, it's all three Ash, because you disrespect the like and
yeah, I'm just trying not to laugh.
in the goddamn Buck and Chuck Fudley. So let's us talk. I aim to test your honor, if you don't mind. I assume you don't mind.
No, sir.
So I seem to recall hearing from the fellas out there that one of your ilk, big fella over there, do you like that beef jerky? I just have to ask, because you are eating. And Dobbs is like, I just fought. I'm hungry. What?
Delicious.
Now that big sumbitch right there made a bet, $20 bet, that he was going to go wrestle himself Sand Maggot. So I'm sort of thinking we're going to do it like this. You prove that you are honorable. You go get that Sand Maggot. You bring it back to me. And I'll offer you something that you desperately need if you're on the run from the Futleys, and that's a place to stay and allies you won't soon find elsewhere. And if you fail, well, my problem's solved, because you're going to be maggot meat. How's that sound? He smiles.
Yeah, Nate's not he's not eager to commit for Dobbs, but he just kind of looks at Dobbs for like, are you going to assure the man, Dobbs?
Well,
Still up
that
for it?
was that bet was made in a sinful gesture, according to what you've now taught us in this town. So I'm not sure I can follow through on that exact bet.
Dobbs, I think this might be one of them times that the right thing to do is to keep your word.
However, if we was going to call it, let's say, a challenge. Challenge seems like a good word for it, don't they? Well, that'd be fine, I suppose. Is there any other rules or anything we might run crosswise with that we need to know about now?
Oh, no. See, I'll get you out there. I can help you in that regard. Get you right where you need to be to find this thing. Did you even know what it... Never mind. I'm not going to ask. I'm sure you're fully prepared for what you're about to face. But what we're going to do here, we're just going to have ourselves an accord. He spits in his hand and walks over to Dobbs. Holds his hand out. And Dobbs is like, I have to think, does Dobbs have a mouthful of tobacco while he's eating his jerky?
Yes. Of
Just
course, 'cause that's what makes it taste good.
Oh, God, that's so gross. You just...
Might fit in my hand. Only mine's a little bit more brown. And before he can react, I just grab his hand and seal it.
And he doesn't react. And he squeezes, and he's got a hell of a grip for a little rotund guy. You know, he's like Danny DeVito kind of physique, you know? And he squeezes back. I like you. But you got to stop dancing, boy. I can't even tell you what that does for your intimidation factor. And he squeezes, and it kind of hurts. And he lets go. I guess I don't need to wet this again. He takes a step sideways and puts his hand out. As you guys are all sitting in like a pew in front of his desk. He shakes each of you. When he gets to Ash, you shake his hand?
Yeah, I definitely spit in my own hand, which is like probably equally as gross as Dobbs, because I got a lot of like cigarette, like just stuff in there, a little tequila breath. Just and I just...
Now, when you do that, just going back to the bonds for those of you who watch that, you and you see that crimson threading of blood, and you sort of hold it because your friends are looking at you as you get that big hawker. You shake his hand, and he is so revolted by this somehow. Ma'am, he says you, and then moves on.
I gotta tell you, sir, I also hate it when people disrespect women, so, you know. Hey, can I get my guns back, though? Look at her.
You'll get your guns back when we got you on your way. You're going to need them. First, I think what we should do, in fact, I know what we should do. We should have ourselves a meal. Proper meal.
I agree.
You can give me, I'm going to give Nate, because Nate's that guy. And I'm watching Mike watch me. So give me a perception roll. No bonus, no penalty.
Got it. Where the hell is my perception? Or it's notice, right?
Yeah,
It's
well,
notice.
notice.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sorry. Nice. So a 7 natural and a 6 on the wild die. So it's a shame. I'm not going to whisper these things. I should just whisper it, but I'll give this to you. So no one else notices this per se. But there's this glimmer in his eye. The same kind of glimmer you get when you're about to run a job. It's this opportunity. And it's flashing just as bright as the damn stars.
Yeah, takes one to know one kind of thing. I pick up on it. All right.
He pulls out a hanky and wipes his hand off. Now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make it clear that you have been punished. You have agreed to repent, he points over to Ash. Your filthy addictions to the devil's juices cannot continue any further. And your gambling, he smiles. That's a way to ruin. And you, until further notice, or until you disappear out of town on your goddamn way the fuck out of my business, you're going to be our new cousin Eddie. And you're going to fight every time we ask you to. You understand me? This is your punishment. Do you understand? I'm not getting a yes out of any one of y'all.
Yes, sir.
No gambling.
I'm not. Hold. I do need clarification. So just like no more drinking.
And I have to think right about now, Len, the tequila's probably hitting because you've been sitting a while after you drank all that. That is what I said. You're gonna give it up.
But it's just
No tequila. Got it.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to abstain from being cousin Eddie though. For one small problem with that.
Yeah, what's that? He says. He looks back at you.
I don't lose.
Boop. I'm writing that down. Damn, Byron, you had like 7 quotes that we could use as an episode title. I don't
I'm
lose.
stifling laughter at this point.
Yep. Insane. If there were people like looking in the windows at us, they'd be now rioting in the streets going, "Oh!"
Yeah, I sort of think there is that, really. You got to glance back and there's some people peeking in. And he's doing this with his finger and you guys are doing just the right thing and just kind of seeming very humble. Excellent. So I think it's probably appropriate if we just show you to your cell till dinner's ready. All right? He smiles. Just follow me. Come on. Do you stand up? Do you just sit down and look at him like, fuck you? Dobbs, do you like, okay.
I look at Nate.
Yeah, Nate stands up and he grabs his cane. After you, fellas. Let's take our licks.
I give the biggest, most like just wet, gross like cough as I get to my feet, just so like playing up. I think this is just a moment where Ash is like just playing up the fact that she's like, you know, a weathered older lady and she's got sleeping in a goddamn cell. All right, that's this town's hospitality for you. Yep, I can't wait.
I kind of lean close to Nate and I go, man, I hope this don't turn out like the last time we was in jail.
You got us out then, didn't you? Sort of like pats you on the shoulder.
Yep.
Did you pull out the
just till
jail?
dinner.
You like ripped out the jail wall or some shit? Or
Murph did.
Yeah, he had Murph ripped down the wall because I slept with the mayor.
It's from our bonds.
Yep. You follow him, and he steps back and sort of back through the courthouse and down some stairs, kind of cheap sort of stonework there, and there are in fact 3 cells, very small. And he opens the door. Now I'm gonna trust that you just behave yourselves and just have a seat. All right. Trust me. It's gonna be just fine. You step in.
Yeah, going.
I look at Len. Look at the look on Len's face. She's just like so not.
I don't know. Like Ash, I feel like Ash like waits for the very last minute before she doesn't like. I feel like she doesn't like to be trapped. That's actually one of her hindrances is cautious, and I feel like the idea of giving up any degree of control is so not good for her. So she like waits until the rest of the boys are in and is like standing out there like, really? Like finally walks in.
So you're waiting so that John and Nate step in, and Dobbs, whose head is like he has to duck to get in the door. What do you do? You're like, there's clearly a roll there. You rolled a 1 and a 3 on the wild die. What are you thinking, Dobbs?
Yeah, he's having flashbacks of when he went on the chain gang and stuff. Like this is not a happy time in his life, going inside a jail cell. They told him it was going to be just a short while last time, and then he ended up working for years on a chain gang.
Big fella.
I kind of looked at Dobbs. Now, Dobbs, just till dinner. We'll be fine. They're going to offer us some hospitality. This is more for show than anything. And then we're going to go, complete our accord that we made with the judge. He wouldn't leave us in here after signing us up to fight some awful beast down in the desert.
All right. I guess
Look
he'll
at this
duck.
visual. Oh wow, love it.
He'll duck and go in.
You step in, and so now it's your friends, all 3 of them. There's only one cot in there, and there's a like a bucket or something, like a wooden classic bound in iron kind of bucket for the the necessaries, and all 3 of them are looking at you. And the judge is standing there. And, now, little lady, if you prefer not to go in there, I could arrange some other sleeping accommodations for you. He winks and smiles.
I walk right into that cell.
You step in, and he's like, don't. And it maybe you think he just realized he came off as that guy, and you see him blushing, and he slams that door shut, and kind of walks away. And his buddies, right, his henchmen, it's the ginger and the Asian guy are right there with him with swords and whatnot. They're not out, but he's there. He kind of walks past, and you notice that he looks into the cell at all of you. But Ash, again, he makes eye contact with you, and he nods and walks on.
I smile, big, gross teeth at him, I guess.
Great. So nice. It's like corn or something. It's like rows of corn. That's amazing. Big, gross teeth would be another good title. So I'm having to think. What do you guys gonna do with your time in this nice little place?
Anybody want to play game of cards? I pull out my deck.
Nate, like, overly enthusiastic. Yep, sounds great. Go ahead and deal us in, John. None of them gambling games, though. We zone restriction.
Oh, of course not.
Is there a guard around who's watching us?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay,
It's
I pull
so
out a
quiet.
flask.
You pull out a flask. It's just, what's Dobbs do? Dobbs, you're a big dude in here, right? And the rest of them are probably. I picture them sitting on the cot, and you're kind of pacing. You're just huge. Wow. Apocalypse again.
Is there a window to the cell?
No. Well, it's a barred wall. And then no, it's apparently up against something maybe underground. It's just a rock wall.
Oh, no window to outside, huh?
No, nothing like that. Nothing fancy.
Is there a lantern or something down here then?
There is, in fact, a lantern out by the door, and so there's this very, very faint light just kind of flickering. So you can make each other out and make the cards out, but it's like this very faint amber. Holy, 22 viewers! Hi guys, where the hell did you come from? Welcome to Myth Brigade. All 22 of you. These guys are in jail. You missed it. Dobbs was just postulating on what to do. What do you do, man?
So, did they unlock the door when they put us in this one?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so they unlocked it and then put us in?
Yep.
And then it's 3 cells. They're kind of one. Are we all in the same cell?
Yes.
Okay. Are the doors closed on the other 2 cells?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So I see Dobbs not really paying attention to the card game we're playing. I see the wheels turning. Now, Dobbs, remember, we're in here till dinner. So Let's give it a few hours before we try anything too elaborate.
Now, John, you said we're in here till dinner, but I'm always hungry, if you know what I mean. So
you got beef jerky
dinner's kind of.
still?
I do got some. I got some.
I mean,
I'm just checking to see if we got options should we need them.
I did want to circle back around and just quickly point out, John, that I was offered sleeping arrangements a moment ago, which gives me pause because I don't think we're gonna be getting out of here at dinner time.
I am not normally an optimist, but I don't feel like the whole work of holding guns to our backs and making us agree to fight to a sandworm and all that is just for his own benefit. I mean, he wouldn't go to that. He could have just shot us and dragged us and fed us to one of the sandworms. Like, I think we should give it a few hours before we break out. And I'm sure you still, and I kind of whisper, have a weapon on you. I know you. I'm sure you got something. I've got my cards. Dobbs is still Dobbs. We'll manage. If we need to manage, we will. But let's just give it a couple hours. We can play some cards. Or
Nate's drawing on cards. He's like, I'm with John. If we ain't out of here by nightfall, Dobbs, you have my blessing to tear these walls down.
All right. Well, I'm just going to be looking for which one I'm going to tear down between now and then.
I'm watching your face, Byron, and I just picture Dobbs staring at a wall, just like, I could take that motherfucker down right now.
Well, normally cells are made to keep you from going out, but not necessarily made to keep you from going side to side.
That's so true.
So, since the other doors ain't locked, I'm figuring if we can get through from this cell to that cell, we might be able to get out.
I'm not going to make you make a smarts roll for that. The other thing that's great is when you guys are dialoguing like that, I try to put it in an old Western movie, but in the context that you guys are discussing with like Ghost Rock or whatever weird shit. It's pretty entertaining. So you're there, you play a couple hands of cards, and you're starting to really kind of get stir crazy. It's a small space. Not all of you can sit down. Not all of you can take a nature break. There's no food. There's no water. And sure as hell, about say 3 hours in, John, because you got the pocket watch, right?
Yep.
The Asian guy comes down. He's dressed different. He's not wearing the duster. He's wearing a nice suit, kind of vest, ascot, or a string tie. And he comes walking up with keys to the door. Congratulations. You are free now that the sun has fallen. He opens the door. Why do you look surprised? He says.
Never doubted you for a second. Thank you. Man of his word. See that, Ash? He's a man of his word.
I have said nothing to you of my trust. Just know this. We do have a common enemy. I can't say it. Try. For the 22 of you that joined, I'm going to try Buck and Chuck Futley. Took my wife. They kill her. They cut her to ribbons. And scattered her remains. Why? Why? Because I did not pay them protection. I will get even. And he grabs your chest and pulls you forward and looks you right in the eye. His eyes narrow. And then he glances over your shoulder at Ash. You think he's pulled in close, right? Looking at you. You are going to help me. And he steps aside. Come, we eat.
We.
Now those are the words I've been looking for.
Again, as we're exiting the cell, I assume I have to walk past this guy, and I just kind of like stop for a second and look at him and just go, so about getting even, I'm gonna tell you what, give me my rifle back and I think I can help you. I'm just
I was at the show, he says. I know you can. You owe me your lives. Were it not for what I saw, you would be nothing but trash in this town. He turns. Follow me. There's this moment where you realize that the decision to put on that stupid show of, hey, look at me, I've got cards, and hey, I can shoot shit, and hey, I'm Dobbs, and I'm transforming into a monster or whatever. Like, somehow that saved your lives in this horrible situation. So he kind of walks you back up, out. Town's kind of sleepy at this point. It's dark. Crickets. You can sort of hear the quiet, sort of off in the distance, howl of coyotes or whatever. You have not seen Maggot Gap at this time of night, have you? He says. Like this? You can see the moon huge in the sky, just shining down into that creepy bowl. And Dobbs, as you look out there, you see this fucking shape. Like, from this distance, it's like a finger, not to reference a finger of Nicodemus, but that's in there too. The finger coming up out of the sand and arching down. He pats you on the shoulder. It's a fair fight, I'm sure. He turns and walks down the street.
Aren't they all?
Oh. So he walks you to the head, basically the top of the town. There's a little tiny church house there. It's about maybe, say a typical living room in size, right? A handful of people, like more of a chapel than a church. But off to the left of that, there is a properly big house, right? It's like not plantation big, but not far off. You just kind of walk along this path behind the church. It's all on the same property, behind the same fence. It's starting to kind of make sense all of a sudden that the Reverend runs the town. The Reverend is the judge, right? And you make your way into this kind of up to this porch, kick your shoes off. Now you're dressed for dinner. Like, let's revisit. What do you guys wear? So just real quick, Nate, what's your situation?
He looks as though he's tried to stay as tidy as he can, though it's been a few weeks on the road without actual proper bath and all that. So he's got a once nice duster that is now dirty and torn, but it's still buttoned up all the way that it should be. His cuffs are nice and tight, and he's got a white cane that he walks with as though he's not royalty, but he's definitely worth something, and he sort of walks with his pep, but he looks a bit rough and dirty right now.
What about Ash?
I mean,
the blood-stained clothing. And...
What about Ash? Let's see. She's got her big, thick black leather, or like I would imagine either dark brown or like ashy gray duster on, but it's got that lovely bullet hole through the arm of it. And probably a couple bullet holes, probably some char and singe from when the explosion happened. She's kind of occasionally scratching at the scab on her forehead a little bit. And her Stetson, which is just ragged as all hell. I mean, she looks like absolute garbage. I'm pretty sure also because of the gunshot wound, like I imagine her shirt sleeve might have been like cut away for like medical reasons.
Yes,
soaked in blood.
Right. I think that's right.
There's no salvaging what she looks like right now. She just absolutely looks like roadkill.
Got roadkill. John, how about you? You roadkill?
Not looking too great. Not my normal, I would like to say, dapper self. I got black pinstripe shirt that used to be fairly fine quality. Tried to be, respectable looking. A black leather duster and Stetson. It's, I'm sure, covered in mostly dust and dirt, mud, and blood, probably for the most part. Yeah, shirt's pretty ragged. I've got a couple gun holes in it at this point. Haven't gotten a chance to repair those, patch those yet. So I try my best. I put an air of confidence and regality, but yeah, not fooling anybody.
And last but not least, the shadow looming above you all, Dobbs. Like you're kind of bummed because you had figured out a way that you could tear the whole cell out. You sorted it out. What do you what's your accoutrement for dinner?
That may still be necessary at some point in the future, but he's pretty much got his sweat and dirt stained shirt that he always wears the same one, and he's got a kind of a yellowy tan. It was like a brighter yellow at some point, but now it's more dark brown of soaked with sweat and so forth. Handkerchief around his neck, and of course he's got his like duster on. So he's always got Jennifer inside his sleeve, of course. Well worn, rugged jeans and boots that just look like he's had them since he was like 10.
So you step up onto this porch and the door opens. There's a servant there. Opens the door. It's a sort of an older guy, surprisingly, just like butler style servant, right? Like English butler, like sort of a tuxedo almost. A little worse for the wear, a little frayed, but still impressive for this town. And he kind of bids you enter, and you can see that he examines each of you, kind of filing away what you just described as like, oh, these guys are kind of... But you sort of step in. The floor is this fantastic sort of little tile entryway, and there's these fantastic handmade wooden furniture here or there, and there's a painting on the wall and a sculpture or whatever. And out comes this little Danny DeVito guy. See, he oh, my friends, I thought you'd never make it. Now come on in, he says, smiling. He's dressed in one of the nicest suits, but he's not, doesn't have a tie. It's kind of loose, and that's unheard of in these days, right? And you notice he's got a little frill around the sleeves, which is also strange for this time. It's a little old school, almost like Renaissance guy. You smell, Dobbs. You smell yourself because, as you said, you never change your shirt, but you smell pot roast, like proper pot roast. It's this strong, garlicky, salty, this sort of savory gravy, and it just literally possesses you. I can see what you're thinking, fella. Come on, let's get us something to eat and have us a little conversation. He walks in. Darth Vader is not at the end of the table. I know you're thinking that it would be, but he's not.
That would be funny.
It would be. I'm sorry. He got here just before you did. You walk in and there's this long ass table, like too long for the four of you and then him. You all kind of sit down at one end. There's bottles of wine. There's everything you could expect for a proper dinner. Come on, make yourselves comfortable. Sit down. Don't you worry now. Let me take your hats or coats or... Good God, he looks at Ash as you take your hat off, and you've got like 3 years of hat head because you probably have never taken your hat off.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think she takes it off to sleep, but like she doesn't brush it. There's no mess under there.
Let's us have a conversation, he says. It is the servant pours you wine. Do you drink and participate, or do you kind of just sit there and stare at him like you would if it were Strahd? What do you do?
I offer up my glass. Yes, please, thank you. And sort of swirl it around and smell it. But I don't actually drink any of it. Set it down on the table.
So these like proper dining. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
are these like proper dining chairs?
They are. They're sort of fabric backed, nice wooden pattern. There's sort of They're kind of like a light sage green with a floral pattern and a nice dark wood.
Is this like, I mean, I'm thinking back to like the houses I was seeing, in the Wild West movies and stuff like that. They have those like really upholstered Victorian style chairs like against the walls, like for people to sit at.
Yes,
like
absolutely. Yeah, there are the side. There's the serving to big crazy sculpted server furniture, and on the other side of that, there's these really tall backed, almost more decorative chairs. It's got a big leather back pad and then a proper fabric pad. Right. You sit in one of those?
Yeah, I'm going to drag it over and move the other chair and sit down.
He watches you with amusement. And it's, it's funny because the chair's pretty heavy. You can lift it with no problem, but you're like, damn, that's a thick piece of wood. You bring it over. Your friends watch. He pours
I'm
water.
Sorry. You said make myself comfortable.
Of course. I mean, you are a stout one, aren't you? I guess I should have thought about that, he says. So, let's have ourselves a toast. Shall we? He raises his glass.
I don't know. Am I permitted to drink the devil juice?
Honey, this is just grape juice. We don't drink in this house, he says. And you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, she like blows a stray piece of hair out of her face, just fine.
Let's us toast. Let's us toast to this, he says. As he picks up and places the forearm and hand and finger on the table. And its finger curls to point at Dobbs. Let's us talk about why. Well, let's start here. He picks up a bell off the table. Ting, 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 ting. And in comes the doctor, looking genuinely upset. And then suddenly like, oh, aha, there you're alive. Let's us talk about why you are on the footless bad side. Seems like this thing here, he picks it up and the finger points to Dobbs. Whoa! And it seems like this thing has an idea. Now, we said we are going to be honest with each other. And I'm just trying to assess the risk of supporting you. He says, and he flexes his hands a lot like this. Like he doesn't have his cane, so he's doing this weird pica thing that he does. So which one of you wants to tell me what the hell this is all about? Oh! Let's start with you! As it points to you, Dobbs.
What exact question do you have?
What is this thing?
I believe it's called the finger of Nicodemus.
And what in the hell does that mean?
Well, I absolutely don't got no goddamn idea.
Well, you know what, Mr. Dobbs? It seems to know something about you, so why don't you tell me why it's pointing at you like this? Why is it, what the hell is this for? You see the doctor sitting there with his head down.
Well, somebody told me it points to the baddest motherfucker in the room. But apparently, it doesn't know you're here.
You're too kind. You are too kind. No, really. So, I've come to know your friend to some degree here. Apparently, he's a veterinarian. So I'm trying to put these things together. I'm trying to figure out exactly why a big bull of a sumbitch that don't know nothing probably couldn't even get two and two together, but could beat his way through the side of a mountain. We got this gambling sumbitch, this alcoholic little whatever, looked like a piece of beef jerky. Could shoot a dime from a mile away, and whatever in the hell this is that had pissed off Chuck and Buck Futley, and I, as much as I hate those sons of bitches. As much as I hate them, I'm just a little worried that I'm getting myself in over my head. And then my friends who are able to kind of once in a while grab a thing or two, find this. They bring it to me. Hey, look what they's carrying, and it's pointing back at the jail. It's just a pointing, and we just carry it down the road. It's just a pointing, and we take it down the goddamn jail. You tell me. And he slams his fist on the table. And he's shaking this thing around, and it's so awkward because it's trying to compensate or whatever. What did you do to piss them off? What am I signing up for a goddamn sand maggot? And he places down.
Here's the awful truth, okay? Is that, well, there was a time, just like always, where we was just trying to make a buck, as good persons always do, And so we signed up to bring in a bounty. You've heard of bounties before, I'm sure. Probably made quite a few of them yourself. And so we collected a young man by the name of Teddy. And, well, Teddy was kind of on the run from the Futley brothers. And because he had something they wanted. However, we got to know Teddy, and we determined that we wasn't going to turn him in because he's just a good right old fella, and not somebody that, well, was maybe owed the problems that he had. And unfortunately, the Futleys kind of took him from us after he became our friend. And like any fellas or peoples that lose their friends, well, Riley, we just feel they need to pay for that. Somehow in between all that, the finger now points to me. Now, I can't rightly say why it points at me. I can't rightly say why it don't point at me. All I know is it does.
You guys notice the doctor, the three of you, as he's talking and just he's being as lucid as he's not dancing for sure. The doctor, when he says I can't say why it's pointing, the doctor's uncomfortable. I'm going to give him a notice roll. So give me a D6. I'm going to say Ash. Roll it for little Bart. Let's see if he notices this. He glances over at the doctor. You notice this, but so you're telling me that the finger, you talk to it casually. Like it's like a horse, like it's just been around. You don't know why it's pointing to you. What is it? And why does it move by itself?
I don't know.
It's laying in the table now, in the middle of the table, and as he points to it, he kind of just brushes it casually.
Excuse me, sir. You're being such a generous host right now for us, Mr. Matthews. But I won't take the name of the Lord in vain, as you have so rightly done this evening so many times. Now, what in the world makes you think that Mr. Dobbs is an expert on these types of things? I mean, like you said, could probably punch through the side of the bar, no problem, but why are you asking him?
You know why? I'll tell you why. And it is grape juice, by the way. You take a sip of it hoping it's wine, and he's joking, and it's just fucking straight grape juice.
So mad about that.
He stands up, and he snatches the thing. You know why? I'll show you why. And he walks over to you. He goes, look at this. And he shows it to you, and it literally twists and points back. I ain't never seen it.
We all see what's going on, but the fact of the matter is, and I ain't lying, and I ain't trying to be disrespectful, but like Dobbs said, we have no idea what makes this thing tick. Came into our possession because the Futleys were looking for it, and, well, we snagged it first because we figure anything that the Futleys are after, if we can take it out from under their nose, probably better with us than them.
Now it's a handy way to find Dobbs when he wanders off.
They could only find Murph.
Handy. I like that. That was good.
So bad. I love it. If you come into this town with bags full of devices powered by Ghost Rock, you got this finger. You said finger. What'd you say it was? Finger of Nicholas? Finger. It doesn't matter. You got this dead man's hand that points to your friend, which I will just point out to you is fairly strange even for city folk. Then you say that you got a bad enemy, and that's Buck and Chuck Futley, and I just got to be honest with you. I'm having a hard time justifying my investment. I mean, just live with me.
Sorry, sir. Again, no disrespect, but I just don't know what else you want to hear from us. We took Teddy away from him, pissed him off one time. Then we took the finger of Nicodemus, which was a surefire way of finding Mr. Smith. God, rest his soul. But yeah, young Teddy didn't make it. And now we have both of the things that the Futleys are after. So yeah, they are not happy with us. And honestly, I wasn't too attached to Teddy, but he wasn't a bad kid. And it was sad to see him go. So I think anybody's chasing us down for these two objects. Well, one object now. Not good folk.
And I assure you, if you think this is odd, the Futley brothers have some things that I never thought I would see in my life. They had some sort of fortress that was flying like a bird flies, but big.
Had.
It's a great point. They had. So, not sure if they have another one, but they had.
I believe we also shot the head off of an automatic man, some type of automaton, and it was, darn near craziest thing I ever seen. It was walking and talking just like a person. It was all gears inside.
Start acting out like swords, and it was
so as these guys are elaborating on all this stuff from like the finger and the pointing and the sword hands, and Nate's eyes are locked on the doctor. Like almost he's blinking like once a minute. And his teeth are grinding and his knuckles are white on his cane in his lap. And like where Nate usually plays it cool, he's just grilling the doctor.
Give me a intimidation roll, please, and I will give you a +2, I think. Yeah.
I don't think I actually have intimidation.
Well, then you'll
it's not really the intimidating type. So it's just a D4.
Mm-hmm. Persuaded him with my eyes.
Should probably be a D4 -2, so it would just be a straight D4, right? Because you get a +2 for the intensity of your role play. Ooh, 2. Okay, so he does notice you, and I'm going to give him. I think he used D6. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, so you stare at him, and he gets that you're just like you're boiling over, and you can see. It's almost like you can feel his internal turmoil. I can help you, he says, looking at you. This is a Futley device. I made it. You made this, and he holds it up toward the guy, and of course it points over toward Dobbs. At least it's pointing to his collarbone, remember, where the tooth is, and not the nethers anymore, because that was awkward. Yes, he says, offering as much detail as he always does. So you're telling me you made this? This is a device? It is a device of sorts, yes. Some of you may call it magic. He stares at the guy, and I'm not going to roll it. Byron, roll me, please, a D6.
I'm just gonna throw an athletics roll because it's a D6.
Good. Okay.
Quick.
Yeah, that's fine. So those of you who see this, that was the resistance situation. So he stops and he goes, and the doctor just leans forward. I made it because I had to, and I won't make another one. And he sits back and goes back to his sort of. There's a salad. Like people are bringing food. Like there's and the. Oh. So you made this just out of bones. It's a device that points to your friend. That's what they said. All right. So that's one question I had. There's only one more, fellas. Ma'am. Apocalypse. If I open this door, it's like my house is gone and we're like raging on the savage world. It's amazing. What I want to know is why was this Teddy, or why is this finger? Why in the hell is there anything to do with you folks that the Futleys want? What is it? I promise I'm not going to interfere with it. I just need to understand what I'm getting into.
I think Ash kind of looks around the table being like, are you guys going to tell him or should I? Like, she makes eye contact with, like, I think first probably like Nate and John, and then also Dobbs, like right there at the end, just being like, should I tell him?
Nate, at this point, is just like, go ahead and tell him, Ash.
Well, rumor has it that thing, and a gesture to the hand, that thing points to a place on a map, which Mr. Dobbs is in the possession of at this point in time, where darn near the biggest stash of ghost rock seen in these parts of the world is buried.
Oh. The doctor looks up. He's got a mouthful of some kind of like, he's got like a muffin. Yes.
Thank you, doctor.
So you have a map and he wants you because you have a map, and then this, we won't talk about the finger anymore, I swear, but you, where is this map?
I have it.
He's coughing on like cornbread flakes, like, oh, here's the map. Look at him naked. He says. All right. What?
I stand up and start unbuckling my pants.
Do you?
I was like, oh, if you really want to see it, you really want to see it.
I just looked down to my food and start eating.
I don't think that's appropriate at a dinner as nice as this.
Do you drop
he
trout?
said he wanted to see it.
Yeah, to be fair, Mr. Nate, he did ask.
Do you drop trout?
No.
You get most of the way there, and then suddenly
I get most of the way, and I'm like,
because he's looking, he's like,
I mean, Teddy, you could start with the shirt with the buttons, you know.
You just called him Teddy, which was amazing.
Oh, sorry. No, Dobbs, you can
that's-
start with the buttons, the shirt, the.
That's a Freudian
on,
slip. That's a Freudian slip.
Sorry, Dobbs.
all right, I'll like take off the duster. Of course, I gotta undo the straps of my suspenders. That's what I'm trying to figure out. My suspenders, and he'll pull his shirt like out of his pants, start unbuckling them a little bit at a time.
I picture like some Isaac Hayes kicks in.
And so,
it's just like-
well, it takes about it for a minute. He takes the duster off, but he leaves like the one sleeve on his right arm because he doesn't want to expose Jennifer.
or actually where the tooth is, right?
Or where the tooth is.
Yep.
So unbuckle the one side and just kind of like open his shirt like this. He's like, trust me, some of it's places you probably don't want to see. He's like, you are kind of a funny fella.
What in the hell? He gets up. He leaves. You guys are eating, right? There's some clinking of flatware, and of course the doctor is just chowing. He gets up and just walks around. I'm not gonna touch you, but what in the hell, son, happened to you? Is this a war wound? Is this a burn? So the Futleys is after you. Huh. Well, that makes you my best friend, Mr. Dobbs. Hey, he's sitting down, so it's good. He's a little taller than you, so he's kind of, but not much. Even, like you're sitting down. So he's only a tiny bit taller than you sitting down. So you're saying that you're gorgeous. I'm not gonna touch, but you're this. Do you got a map? Where is where? If I were going to find the spot, don't answer that. Don't be weird. What does this lead to? He's looking at your chest.
That's what we're gonna find out. And just like anything else the Futley brothers hold dear, we're gonna take it.
So let me get this straight for just 1 second. Let me just say this out loud. Let me just say this out loud. So what you're telling me is I got a doctor that can build weird shit like that. I guess you were using Ghost Rock, and then I got a map. Well, I got you to lead me to the biggest stash of, what did you say, Nate? A biggest stash of Ghost Rock ever in this country? And no, it was Ash, right? You said that. And all I need is you. And I'm sending you tomorrow to go fight. Oh, dear. Yeah, we still got to do that. Difference is I'm going to send somebody with you just in case your hide gets, just in case you get torn up. I'm going to need that map. The doctor smirks, like thinking probably they tried that. It does not work that way.
Kind of a side note, eating the food, the pot roast, it is just a normal pot roast, right? It doesn't taste peculiar or anything.
It's not normal. It's just amazing. It's like proper Yankee pot roast. It's really good. And well, part of that is you haven't had a decent meal. I mean, you've been kind of going from place to place, eating like basic food. This is proper home cooking. It is amazing.
Okay.
Cornbread, pot roast, mash, green beans, all that.
You made a comment about slicing some meat off of Dobbs earlier, so I was just kind of like double checking this doesn't taste like human.
What does that taste like? Have you had it? I said it was
no.
Really
I just imagine it's different.
Do you? I mean, because it's really good is all I'm saying. I didn't say that you're like, oh, hamster.
Fair enough. Well, this is really good.
It's really incredible meat.
Well, then you made the Curse of Strahd reference. I just feel like this is probably people.
We're so on guard about this.
So Dobbs, you're there, shirtless, muscles bristling as always, and you're seeing yourself kind of for the first time really like this. And you realize suddenly like you're the biggest asset and the biggest liability in one. Like you're standing, your friends are looking at you, and there's this moment where probably everyone's looking at you with the same lens. Like, how are you feeling? Like as the map?
I mean, it probably doesn't really faze him. I mean, he probably feels more important now than he ever has. But he just thinks back to the fact that the friendship that he's grown with these folks, and he just probably says to the judge, he says, "You need more than just me and the doctor." He's like, these three over here are key to getting this done.
Getting what done? I mean, you got the map. They good at They good at digging? Is that what they are?
No, they're essential.
No, sir, we're good at keeping Mr. Dobbs here safe when the time comes. We watch each other's backs.
He laughs. No offense. I have heard 7 or 8 complaints from the locals about how he fights. I don't know that he needs any help. I'll take
Well, sir, I don't know about that. You see, back in that old bar room downtown, somebody had a gun in Dobbs' back. Now, he's an important man, as we can all see. And I'll tell you what, couple of bullets in the back of his head would have not done him any good.
Give me a persuasion roll, and it doesn't matter for the moment, but give me one. We're adding up belief points in your story. You gonna let that fly?
I mean,
It's a 3.
I don't really have a very good persuasion skill, so it's probably the best, but I guess I'll drop a penny on it. Sure, why not?
Why don't you roll like a 40? It'll just keep exploding. Well, why'd I give you a 4? Okay. So there's a win. Okay, so yeah, you say that, and he seems to consider it. I'm not trying to cause you into trouble. What I'm trying to determine is how best to support you. I got this one. So what we got to do, let's all agree, we got to find that ghost rock, don't we? He looks around the table. Nate, how do you respond to he looks at you? How do you respond? Are you on board? Are you like, or what? I'm going to say no. Unless you pass a persuasion roll, because you hesitated. You didn't convince me. Make it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll roll a persuasion roll.
That's a 4.
It seems like at the time being, that certainly is the priority now, isn't it?
Well, with the ghost rock, we'll be able to fuel so many of our efforts against them, won't we, Miss Ash?
No, sure.
I'm going to ask you to give me an intimidation roll because you haven't done that. You haven't done that this session. Just fucking, you stare him down with that look that she gets. And he literally just, he's got a mouthful. And he's kind of half chewing, doing the weird lip thing. And he's like, that's what I thought. John, he snaps away from you like, huh.
I guess that's what we're doing.
It is indeed. But the most important one, the one that we need to agree, is that heavenly? There's some ASMR for you. Too much ASMR. Is this one? We gonna find that ghost rock? Looking at Dobbs. Dobbs, I lose you.
No. Oh, is he questioning? That was
Yes.
a question?
There's like this perfect music in the background right now.
It's like,
Yes.
I'm not really sure we on the same page yet. See, we gonna find the ghost rock. There's still a separation in this we.
How you gonna do that without help?
Well, to be honest, we ain't really needed much of help yet. And also, to be honest, I ain't really seen you got much to offer.
I see. All right. Well,
I was like, we came in here and caused a bunch of ruckus with little to no effort. You'd hate to see what kind of shit we could cause if we were actually trying.
no, I wouldn't.
It's like, if you really want to know, just ask the Futleys. They'll give you a really nice rundown.
I know they would. I'm sure they would. Listen. But he stands up and he grabs his grape juice, kind of comes walking down and sits on the table between you and John, like your placemats, right? Kind of, and leans in. I have something to offer that you need, and that's friends. Don't look at me like that. I don't mean that kind of friends. I mean, well. But listen. He reaches in his lapel and he withdraws a playing card. John, you see this playing card and you're just like, whoa. It's completely black on one side, and on the other side it's an ace. And he lays it down. I have friends. He pats the card twice. Who also have friends. Who also hate them Futleys. But see, the fun part is, they ain't got no in with him. You do. So you could say we ain't reached that point of understanding, but listen, Mr. Dobbs, what I could tell you is I could just walk away from you right now and let you die. Because you will. He will take that map right off your body like a goddamn piece of leather. He'll make a hat out of your crotch. You know this.
Well, then he won't have a map.
Yeah, you think that. He's a smart man. And that's just Buck. Chuck, that sick sumbitch. Have you heard the stories? Now we got to get ourselves an organization formed here. Now I know you don't like me. I can see it in your eyes. But I want to help you. 'Cause it helps me. So let's cut us a deal. You want Ghost Rock? Is that what you're after? He looks at Ash. Smells like it. I cut it in half. With you. For you. Half of it. Half for you, half for me. I will cut my hand and bleed. Let's have us an accord. But we don't split it until that sumbitch is dead. How's that for an accord, And he sips his grape juice like he's drinking, like Ash would drink tequila out of a bottle. And he looks so stupid because it's just like, really, grape juice? But he's just like... $50.
I seem to remember a couple things you said since we've been here, because, you know, I'm not the brightest, as you probably already figured out. But it's like, you said there was a lot of sin. You said dancing was a sin. You said gambling was a sin. You said drinking was a sin. But you also said the Ghost Rock was a sin. And that's why you could smell it on there, Ash, over there. So if it's such a sin, then what's a godly man like you want with it?
What do you think I want with it, Mr. Dobbs? Little man like me, little town like I got, what do you think? Little town just on the border of the Futleys territory, so he calls it. Gunman don't even challenge him. He owns it. He'd do whatever the hell he wants. He could raise the dead and let him walk around. You seen that yet? Well, it's getting worse. I'll tell you what I want. I want that sumbitch to die. I want this nonsense to stop. And I want Jesus Christ to come back to the earth. I'm willing to wait for a handful of those things. But one of them, I need it right now. Which one do you think that is? Now, I'm just telling you right now, we make an accord, you and me. Well, if we make an accord. He says as an aside, clearly as an aside. We're going to take that sumbitch down together.
I'm not part of this, but I kind of have
right
a reluctant... Well, kind of like, I see the focus between Dobbs and the Reverend/Judge, so I kind of do a reluctant nod kind of towards Dobbs.
I kind of glance over at Nate.
Yeah, Nate's nodding his head. We gotta do it for Teddy.
Ash is like, not unless he lets me drink tequila.
I mean, I think Ash is definitely kind of... I think for a minute there, she was getting a little tense and almost like reaching around for her gun a little bit, but then she kind of stopped and then is kind of watching this all unfold, and she just kind of goes, "Well, hell, Teddy, we've taken bounty work before. This is no different."
Call me Teddy again.
That's
Nate.
twice.
So sorry.
Dobbs.
I'm sorry, my
amazing.
brain
Same
keeps
night.
thinking about Teddy for some reason. Well, now you're already
Because he's
Teddy, 'cause
right
you're on the
here.
map.
He's
Like,
right here close to our hearts.
So good.
Riley's so good at RP right now.
I feel like part of him is on me now.
I'm so sorry, Dobbs. Yes, hell, Dobbs. Ain't no different than bounty work.
I suppose we could have some sort of cord. I'm thinking more like, 70-30 split, though. Because you didn't have none of that before we were here, so we're obviously a more important part of it.
Oh, Dobbs.
We roll persuasion?
You can.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's a double ones. It's a double
Dobbs
figure.
is not a math whiz.
Well, he leans in. And you can still, you guys, you can still hear him, but he just leans in close. Your mom will be proud of you if you just take a step forward in this arrangement. Now, I know that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But I just got to be honest. I know what it means to you, and I know she never stood for any bullshit. Like at one time, he says, when there was that fella used to come around, she put him down with a shotgun. Remember, Dobbs, when you found that dead body out there by the pond? Your mom was a strong woman. He pats you on the knee, and she's standing right over your shoulder. He goes and sits back down. Picks up his glass of we got ourselves a deal, don't we, boy?
I suppose we do. I reach my hand out.
60-40. He smiles.
It's funny because that's exactly what I was about to say.
I think you probably say it at the same time. You're just like reaching out, and then he tries not to be like, Jesus, really? Like, you shake hands.
Yeah. Of course, you get the 40.
Leave it to Dobbs to, like, say the perfectly, like, obvious thing.
Oh my God! You just set yourself up for something interesting. I flabbergasted. So we're gonna call it here.